All right, guys, today we're gonna change the the thermal paste on a 2012 MacBook Pro Unibody. This is gonna be the late 2012 model. So the first thing we need to do is we need to take all the screws out of the back panel to get access to the motherboard. So these are all Phillips 00s. So this and this Phillips here are gonna be the longest. So take those out first. Make sure you have a nice spot to put these so you don't lose them, and then you actually have like them organized. So I have them set over here where the long screws are going to go with the long screws for the case, and then the other ones are going to go with each other. I'm missing a screw. There's actually 3 here, but I'm missing one, so bear with me for this one. But same thing applies to this one. That's a long screw. And then you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more. So 1, 2, 3. These 3 are regular. These 4 are going to be shouldered, so they come in at an angle. So do not put them in straight down. So here's your board. It's got all the connectors on it right here. This is your optical drive. This is your hard drive. This is your battery. So the first thing we're going to do with the board is we're going to go ahead and take the fan out so we can get the rest of the components out. So for the fan, it's going to be held in by 3 T6s. One of them is going to be longer. This one's the longest T6. Then there's another one here, and then there's another one here. So go ahead and grab a Torx T6 and go ahead and start pulling these out. Now that your fan's out, I'm going to pry it up, and then for the connector here, lift it straight up to get it out. So this one's going to come straight up, just like that. And then there's your fan. Put that off to the side. All right, so now you're going to want to start disconnecting stuff from the board. So first thing we're going to disconnect is going to be this. This is for the speaker. So this is a speaker / subwoofer cable. So that comes straight up off the board, just like the connector for the fan. You just lift it straight up, very easy. And then you're going to want to disconnect the camera cable. So this one pulls away from you. So pull it straight out like that. And then you're going to want to disconnect these sets of cables here. So there's 4 of them. This one's going to be the Bluetooth cable. So lift it up like so. The second one is going to be the optical drive cable. So go ahead and lift that one up. The third one is going to be the hard drive cable. So you want to lift that one up the same way. And this last one here is for the trackpad. Be careful when lifting these up because you do not want to damage the pins on these because these are very important. So just like that, all 4 of those are up. So the next thing we'll disconnect is this is for the the sleep sensor or the battery indicator. So we're gonna lift this one up, same as those other ones. You just lift it straight up. Right here is the battery cable. So you want to just lift this one straight up as well. This is the biggest cable out of all of them. So come straight up. All right, and then your next 2 cables that you want to mess with are gonna be your keyboard cable. This is a ZIF connector, and then this is the keyboard backlight cable. This is also a ZIF connector. So you just go ahead with your finger real gently and your fingernail probably lift it up, lift it up. So you get them both up like that. And then you can just go ahead and grab the front of it and just pull them straight out. Just like that. And then out of everything, you have 1 cable left. This is for the display connector. There's a tab on the front that will release the clip. And then you can go ahead and grab the actual connector itself, pull it away from you. So grab it and just pull it kind of away. This one's kind of coming loose. So there you go, just like that. Okay. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and take the board out. So the board is held in by 9 Torx screws. They're all T6s. 5 of them are going to be short, 2 of them are going to be 4.3, and then 2 of them are going to be 7.2 millimeter. So go ahead and keep the same T6 bit that you had. So the first 2 I'm going to take out are going to be these right here. These are the longest ones. So keep these in a safe spot and remember to put them back in the long spot. So as you can see, they're much longer than the other ones. So take these 2 out first. This is going to bring this little bracket out right here. This bracket is for the charger. So pull that out. And then we'll go ahead and we'll take out the 4.3 millimeter Torx screws. Those are the medium sized ones. There's only 2 of them, so that's gonna be located right here and here. So we're gonna take these out. And like I said, make sure that these are all put in the right spot, because you don't want to put the short ones into the wrong hole. And then, because the long ones won't fit and it'll just mess everything up. So separate those. And then we got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 of 3.8 millimeters, or sorry, 3.6 millimeters. We'll take those out. Now that you have that, all your Torx bits that are holding your board in are gonna be out. That means the board's gonna be able to come out. But what you need to disconnect next is this display cable bracket. This is what holds the display cable and the microphone in. So you got to disconnect this. This is going to be a Phillips 00. So there's 2 of them here, one here and one here. This one on the left here is actually much longer. So go ahead and put this one to the side, because this is a longer screw than the other ones. And then this one on the right is shorter. See, that's a shorter one. And then you can pull this straight out. Set it to the side. All right. And then the next step, there's a little microphone that's stuffed down in this little hole. You want to grab your spudger and go ahead and pull it out. Make sure that it comes out cleanly so you can pull the board. All right, so once that's out, you want to go ahead and grab the board and lift it towards the back of the case, or side where the panel is, so you don't bend anything. And then you can go ahead and just pull it straight out. Sometimes it might get a little stuck because of these battery cables and stuff, but once you get it, it should come straight out. And then there's your heatsink right here. So this is what we're gonna be taking off and showing you guys how to get to. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna move this out the way. All right, so here's the board. Here's a speaker. This is your memory unit right here. This is your CPU under this that's soldered in. You have your I/O. This one has Thunderbolt 1. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take off these Phillips bits. These are gonna be all the same length, but they're also gonna be screwed in with a spring. So make sure that whenever you take the heatsink off, you don't lose the spring. And then, just like that, there's the heatsink. It's a pretty small heatsink, but this doesn't pull much power. And then there's your CPU right there. So ideally you would replace all that thermal paste with fresh, but for this demonstration, we're not replacing the thermal paste. So, you know, you clean it off with alcohol and then you go ahead and put some fresh on there, and then mount your heatsink back onto it. And just like that, it's mounted again. Make sure that doesn't come off. All right. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead and put everything back in. So what you wanna do is you wanna make sure that the I/O is facing the ports, so you can go ahead and line that up. There's gonna be a few different things here that you want to make sure that you do. So this bracket here for the charger, it's gonna need to go in first, and make sure that all of the cables are ran upward so they're not smashed under the board when you put it in. Otherwise, you're gonna have to take the board out again. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put this, slide it in there, and then make sure that this bracket goes in first, because you don't want that to be in the wrong way. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna screw that in first. Make sure that these cables are not on this piece of standoff that's coming up. Otherwise the board is not gonna sit flush. So you might have to just get your piece and poke it out the way. There you go. All right. We're gonna screw this back in. The charger is now mounted. So then you got your speaker here. Go ahead and slide that back down in its little spot. Make sure that it clicks in. Well, it doesn't really click, but it slides in, and it's rubber, so it'll get wedged in there right. And when you know it's in the right spot, it won't move. So that should be good right there. All right. Now we're gonna mount the display cable bracket. All right, so just like that, display cable bracket is mounted. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and make sure that all of our cables that we're gonna plug into the board are up, because you don't want these under the board. When you go to try to screw it in, if these are under, you're gonna smush them, and then you're not gonna be able to plug them in. So go ahead and just pull them all forward, especially these little ones, because they're a pain. If they get behind the board, they're not gonna come up. All right, so once you got everything up, you can go ahead and start plugging everything back in. All right, now that everything's fully connected again, we can go ahead and grab the Torx bit again, P6, and we're gonna connect everything back to the motherboard. All right, and then now that you have all of the Torx bits, or Torx screws, sorry, back into the board's secured. Final step before putting the back panel back on will be CPU, fan. Just like that, everything should be installed except for the display. So for the display, you just go ahead and push it and slide it right into the clip, and then you bring it down and it'll click. Just like that, small little click, that's how you know it's in. So double check, make sure all your connections are solid and seated so you don't have any problems when you put it all back together. So everything should be good here. All right, and just like that, we have reassembled the MacBook Pro Unibody 2012 edition 13-inch display. Everything should work fine. Thank you guys for watching. Definitely check out more content like this. We're gonna do some more teardowns, show you guys how to get all this stuff done. But yeah, that's how you do the MacBook Pro.